Hello there, Margarita Alcantara here, and welcome to the Rise Up with Margarita show. And this is my weekly show every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, where I really help light workers who are ready to be emerging leaders of light step into their power, rise up into their power, and really make their impact in the world and make a difference. And so, if we're just meeting right now, my name is Margarita Alcantara, and I am a leader of leaders of light who are here to claim their power. I create visibility for conscious leaders of light so that they can shift the paradigm of power and awaken the planet. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's topic is how your views around money as a light worker affects how you show up in your power. And so this is a really powerful topic. And actually, I was really kind of interested to see what people's reactions were going to be to a lot of the more recent posts, particularly about money, because light workers are notorious for not taking ownership not only of their power but also not of their money. And then those who are disempowered as light workers tend to be in that survival mode, and their lower chakras are not really as balanced as their upper ones, because light workers are really awesome with being cosmic, being connected on the higher spiritual realms, but then when it comes to the lower physical chakras, there's no balance there. So they might feel themselves as ungrounded, or they might not be really able to pay their bills, or they don't feel like they belong, and all this other stuff. And those are all signs of unbalanced chakras on the lower level, especially the root chakra, that kind of thing. So I really wanted to speak into this because it is affecting how you show up in your power. And I know that the number one thing you want to do is really just show up in the world, make a difference, make your biggest impact, and you get to do that when you also clear out your money stories and your limiting beliefs about money. And before I even go into this topic about money, I want to give you a heads up about what this is really all about. Because, of course, I'm going to talk into this. I'm going to speak into a lot of things, a lot of old perceptions that light workers have around money, why these beliefs are so deep, and also the truth about what money actually means for light workers, and then how you can start to open up into that. And the thing that I wanted to share with you first is this is not just about you doing healing work. This is not just about you, being a healing light in the world. If you haven't noticed yet, we are in a spiritual war. And as such, you get to really embody your power so that you get to be a catalyst of change. You get to really help the world heal, upgrade, up level their consciousness, their being, their light, and all of that. And because that's really what's being attacked right now. And I'm going to speak into this a little bit about why the money stories with light workers are so deep, because it is part of that programming too. But that is really why I'm doing all of this work, right, for light workers like you, because it is blocking you from your power, and that's what they're counting on. Meaning those negative forces, those entities that are not of light. The more that light workers can doubt themselves, doubt their power, get repulsed by their power, get repulsed by money, get repulsed by abundance, then the easier it makes their job, honestly. Because then, if all the light workers and all the people who are here who are supposed to be standing for the light of God are too busy getting distracted, then it makes the job of Team Dark much more easier. And believe me, they are organized, and we get to be organized. And that is why I'm showing up for you right now. That is what one of the things that it gets to you. This is one of the ways you can be manipulated, is around your survival mechanism, around your ability to bring in abundance, right? And even your views on abundance. And so that's why this was really, really important. And the interesting thing about this is that It actually was a very popular reel, the one about light workers and money. I thought people were going to start coming into the comments with all their money stories and, this is evil and blah, 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 even though I spoke directly into that in the reel. And then I also did a carousel yesterday. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you check out the carousel where I talked about how to clear your limiting beliefs around money as a light worker so that you can really be in your abundance. So, here are some of the most common money myths that light workers are believing. So, invisible light workers hold on to old paradigm beliefs around money being evil. That's a number one thing. A lot of light workers have this illusion that money is evil. That money is low vibration is another illusion that a lot of invisible light workers believe. They believe that money is part of the capitalist patriarchy. And, I'll speak into that in a moment because, I mean, that's why I'm laughing because it's like the patriarchy. It's falling apart. I don't know what you're hanging on to because there's nothing there. And then also that money makes you greedy, that money makes you a bad person, that money is not spiritual, and that it is not spiritual to charge, receive, or collect money. All of those are beliefs that a lot of invisible light workers have. And so I wanted to share that with you first, because in order for you to transcend into this, transcendence around your money, you must first understand what you're holding on to, right? So that's like the number one step first, is to really understand what are your beliefs about money and to really get curious about that. Juita's saying that reel was very helpful. I'm glad to hear that. Um, so these beliefs, especially that money is evil and low vibration and not spiritual, those are all lies. They are all lies. It's not true. It's simply not true. It's actually something that I'll get into that in a moment. But it's just simply not true, and I will tell you why, and I'm going to also tell you what it actually is. So, first of all, before I share why these beliefs are so deep, know that what I've just shared as common misconceptions and limiting beliefs around money, these are blocking you from your money. So if you believe any of this right now, like no judgment here, right? Like we've all been there, like especially at the beginning of our journeys, right? And I'll give you a little story about that in a little bit. But it is blocking you from your abundance and also from your power. And the reason why is because money's just, and I'll go into this more deeply in a little bit, but it's neutral. It's a tool. It's a tool for change. But if you are so wrapped up in the fact that money is evil, it's bad for you, of course you're going to not want to involve yourself on any way, right? And so here's why these beliefs are so deep. They are created by projected beliefs by those around us, whether that be your caregivers growing up or people you were surrounded by growing up. We all have received an understanding about what money is, right? So some of the common beliefs that you may have gotten is money doesn't come from trees. Money doesn't fall off trees. Money is not, you got to work really, really hard if you want any money. One thing that, I'm going to share with me, my father, because he was someone who informed my money beliefs in the beginning. His money beliefs, they were not totally healthy. He made a lot of money, but I think there's a part of him that resented making money because he just wanted to be a farmer. And I may have told you this story before. He just wanted to be a farmer, but his dad, they came from a poor family. And so he's like, no, you're going to be a doctor. And so he did that, right? And, because he's a good son and, he wanted to be abundant as well. But the thing is that when it came to the bills, no, without fail, he would be grumbling under his breath. More money, more problems. More money, more problems, right? And so, what do you think was my mindset about money after hearing that? The first thing I thought was like, oh my God, if money gives me more problems, I don't want money, right? Like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. So, of course, even when we don't think we're powerful, we're actually manifesting in real time. And so I didn't have money and I struggled a lot, right? And then in the beginning of my healer work, because I'm over like 12 years having a successful private practice in the middle of New York City, making six figures, right? And now I've been branching out into, not just now, it's been like 3, 4 years now, doing the greater healing work with my power activations and all that virtual stuff. Um, like when I first began, though, it was very much connected to that, right? Is that, and people would even tell me, oh, all this stuff comes from you, like it should be free. It should be free. You shouldn't be charging so much and all these other things, right? And here's the thing about that. When people are telling you what you should or should not believe with money, who are bringing you up, who are exposing you to their money beliefs, they're showing you what their beliefs are about money. But that doesn't make it true, right? So those kinds of beliefs around, money doesn't fall off trees, like you better hoard that money because you don't know when it's going to come around next, right? Like one of my patients actually experienced that, where he grew up, with no money, and they basically didn't know when they were going to have food, right? And now he's a successful lawyer, but the point being is that he got used to that belief of, you don't know, like you got to hoard onto your money, because you don't know when the next stuff is coming from, right? And that's lack mentality. That is scarcity and lack mentality, which is actually the opposite of what is aligned in the universe. Because the truth is, the universe is abundant. God is abundant. And money does not come from your clients, from the government, from things outside of you. Money is abundance, and abundance comes from God. And since you are an aspect of God, in fact, you are God, right? You're this microcosm of God, and we're all walking around, as extensions of God, right? And if that is the case, then you too are abundant. You are abundant. You are money, right? You are that generational flow of light, right? And that's really what this energy is about, of what's coming in for the new earth, what's coming in for the planet, is that all these constructs, the old paradigm, all the chaos you're seeing right now, it is the old paradigm falling apart and exploding, including the capitalist patriarchy. And someone asked me over the weekend, because I put out a question on IG stories, and asked me, well, if the capitalist patriarchy is falling apart, then why is the abundance going to all the rich people, right? And that's a lie too, because there are a lot of light workers that I know who are millionaires. And they didn't get there from being sneaky, being nasty, being manipulative. They got there from serving, from a place of light and from their heart. So that is also an outdated belief, that you got to be the sleazy, gross, manipulative person in order to be making money. Another reason why these beliefs are so deep is your personal fears about your power. And what I mean by that is, if in any aspect of your being you are resisting your power, or repulsed or grossed out even by your power, that is where you're also resisting money. And not only that, you are also resisting love, because that is actually the energy of the new earth. It is aligning divine power, love, joy, abundance, including money. It is all connected. So, if you are like, no, I can't possibly be in my power, it's not for me to do that, or who am I to say who to do that, right? Anywhere where you're resisting your power, you're also resisting your money, and you're also resisting love. Conversely, wherever you are resisting love or blocking out love in your heart, you are also blocking your money and you are blocking your power. So all of this is related. This is the new earth, right? And so what you want to do if you do have personal fears about your power is get curious as to why that exists. Why are you resistant to your power? Why are you repulsed by your power? And then you might find that there are some hidden aspects. Maybe there's something someone told you when you were like 5, and then that just like became your point of view after that, right? So get just curious about it. And just like it says in that carousel that I posted yesterday about how to clear your money beliefs, then after you get curious about it and you identify what those beliefs are, about your power, the fears you have around your power, and then you start to open up into, okay, where did that come from? And then not only where did that come from, but then after that, well, if that's, what do I want to do about that? Do I want to keep believing that? Or do I want to choose something else? And if you want to choose something else, then you go into being conscious and intentional about, okay, well then, so what do I want to believe about money? What do I want to believe about my power? And then after that, the next step is aligning all of your decisions thereafter with that truth of, maybe your new intention is I get to, be in my power, or maybe your new intention is, money is a tool for me to build my light, build my work, and offer better services to my clients, or whatever your new intention is around it. Every choice becomes aligned with that new energy that you want, right? And that's how you create a conscious manifestation. And a third reason why these beliefs around fear, around money, is so deep is because there is negative programming. So you may have heard me say before that all of humanity has galactic DNA, and we do. Not everyone is a starseed, and that's a topic for another day, because I've gone into that on previous lives around starseed power. But in regards to the negative programming, not only have we been programmed by light, because there are star species that wanted to help us ascend, right? Because they know that we're growing, we were kind of in our infancy, and we're still young compared to the rest of the universe, right? So the fact is that we have this genetic coding, and just as we've also received genetic upgrades from those of light so that we can awaken into our divine power, we've also had tinkering with our DNA on the genetic level by those not of light, because there's that reptilian brain that we got, right? And that's something that is being kind of poked right now in the middle of the spiritual war, right? So this is really important to know, because when you have deep beliefs that money is evil, that your power is evil, that money is not spiritual, understand that this too is actually part of the negative programming that has been instilled in us on a genetic level. Not because it's true, but because the more, just kind of like think about it from the approach of those from Team Dark, right? If light workers are repulsed by, grossed out by, or resistant to their power and their abundance, they are going to be disempowered, and they're going to be too distracted to do their job. Okay? And that's what they're counting on right now. That's why all this chaos is going on. Not because we are going to hell in a handbasket. It's not that. It's because this is a lot of distraction to get you out of focusing on your power, to focus instead on other people, on wanting to disconnect from other people, wanting to disconnect from God, wanting to disconnect from yourself. That is what they're counting on. So if you are a rebel like me, as soon as I heard that, yeah, there's a yin and yang there going on there, right? But the truth is that it is out of balance, right? And so all of this negative programming, it doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong there. And so you get to take ownership and change and shift this intention, right, around the dark programming, that negative programming, by claiming your light, by claiming your power, by claiming your connection with God, by connecting with yourself, with your body, with your immune system, with your money, with your abundance, with your impact, with your purpose, and focus on that. And that is the most rebellious act you can do right now, is to take a stand for the light, to take a stand for your body, to take a stand for God, right? Because that's all being under like threat right now. And so the way you do that is you take ownership of that shit. Okay? You take ownership of your money. You take ownership of your power. You take ownership of your light, and don't let anyone ever tell you that you should be ashamed to take ownership of your light. You should be ashamed that you charge money for your offerings. You know, this is your time. So that's my little speech box moment, my little soapbox moment. Stop believing that old programming, that you being in your power, that you being wealthy is wrong or manipulative or bad, because that is not true. The most radical thing you could do right now is to take a stand for the light, to take a stand for what is new, for what is real, for what is the truth. Okay? And so here is the truth about what money actually means for light workers. Number one, it's neutral. It's not a boogeyman hanging out under your bed. It's not evil peeking around the corner waiting for you to mess up, right? It is neutral. It's energy. It's energy. And energy, if you really are a master of energy, right? Because I know a lot of you are healers, energy workers. If you really are a master of energy, you master the energy of money as well. And not from a place of control or a place of manipulation, because that's all part of the old paradigm. But this is really about mastering the energy of money. It's money is not the paper thing. Money is not even the coins, right? I mean, technically it is on the earth realm, right? But money is also an energy. And if you are grossed out by money, if you are grossed out by being in your abundance, then you are going to repel your money. So see money as number one, neutral, two, energy, three, as a tool of light. Because here's the thing, would you rather, because I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, all the rich people are the gross ones, the greedy ones, manipulative. That's only some of the rich people, right? I actually know millionaires and billionaires who take a stand for the light, and they're actually starseed leaders. And they didn't get there, like I said, from being manipulative or greedy or having sleazy practices. They got there from taking a stand for the light and carving out their own path and taking ownership of their power and their money and their wealth. And an empowered light worker knows that money is just a tool. It's just a tool. It's a tool so that you can elevate your offerings for your clients. You can create higher experiences for them. And something that I've described before was, back when, before all this stuff was going on with this COVID stuff, I was doing retreats a lot more in person. And that's what I used my abundance for, for a special retreat upstate in a very beautiful, large home with, a lot of land and acreage. In upstate New York, up in the mountains, in the Catskill Mountains, and gave them a special retreat, and I did that because I had money, I had money to do that. And so that's what you do with money. You use it as a tool to elevate the experiences of your clients and also of yourself, of your experience and of your mastery, because there's, sometimes you want to do some certifications or continuing education, or maybe you want to get a degree, or maybe you just want to do an apprenticeship with a master of some sort, right? You get to up level yourself so that you can be in higher service to others. Or, another thing that empowered light workers do with money is that they build their team. And so, me, myself, I've got an executive assistant. She is awesome. She helps me with so many things. And That's what empowered light workers do too, is that they don't take everything on, right? Empowered light workers have a vision, and in order to achieve their vision, they get help to get on their team, and assist them so that, some of the other things that are not in their zone of genius or where they should be focusing their attention on, someone else on the team can handle that, right? And another truth about what money actually means for light workers, first of all, just to run them through, number one was that it's neutral. Number two, it's energy. Number three, it's a tool. Number four, it is for light workers. It's not just for greedy people who, don't have other people's interest at heart. It is for the light workers. In fact, the money is actually transferring over to light workers and those who are taking a stand for the light. And you must, though, own your abundance and your money in order to do that. Like, you can't just kind of sit back and be like, well, it's just coming to me because, I meditated on it, or, I made the intention and I'm just putting it out into the universe and I'm calling it in, right? The other part of that equation is doing action to bring in that abundance, right? So maybe that means reaching out to a previous client. Maybe that means creating a new program and implementing and launching it. This is the kind of stuff that I help my private clients do. Really get some structure around, okay, how do I create my offerings? What's the best way to launch this? How do I serve my people? How do I adjust things when I start getting triggered by some old stories? That's the stuff I love doing with my private clients. So know that it is for light workers. It's not just for manipulative, greedy, old paradigm people, okay? It's for us too. And who would you rather have or give even your money to? Someone who is taking a stand for the light, or someone who is not? Someone who is in there for their own self-interest, or to manipulate others, or, to just overall be up to no good, right? I don't know about you, but I'd choose the former. So that's really important to know. And then number five, money is a consciousness. Money is a consciousness. It's not just this paper thing that you just deal with and that's the end of your day and then you pay your bills with it and all that. It's a consciousness, and when you start to really advance in your mastery as a light worker and really get clear on your divine power and how everything is connected and related and what is coming in and streaming in for us on the cosmic level, it's huge. We are getting a lot of energy. And in fact, those of you who, saw my post over the weekend, I was talking about the solar class, X class solar flare that landed over the weekend. I think it was more so yesterday. And all kinds of, upgrades to our nervous system, to our pineal gland, to, our heart, and that showing up as kind of feeling either anxious or, feeling some anxiety, that kind of thing. And so, when you are in the mastery of your energy as a light worker, you already know what these symptoms mean, right? You already know what these symptoms mean. You don't get taken out by it. You don't get distracted by it. I mean, sure, you have your moment of experience, but then at the end of the day, you do know that it's because you're getting upgrades, right? And that's what we're experiencing on a daily basis. But also know that we're also being bombarded by, energies not of light as well, for us to be in a state of fear, for us to be in a state of division. And so the faster you can notice that and call it out for what it is, rather than believing all of this fear programming, right? And if you haven't done so yet, I recommend stop watching mainstream news, because it's not new. It's false news. It's fear programming. That's what it is. And so that's just kind of like a little tip that I wanted to put in there. But those are the five truths about what money actually means for light workers. And so now you get to move forward with opening up into a new level as you start to view it that way. And you open up into greater love, greater joy, greater abundance, greater power, greater impact. And you get to lead your movement as an emerging leader of light by really taking ownership of everything you're creating, right? So is this making sense for you? Just checking in here. Feel free to ask your questions specifically about money. Okay, we're going to stay on topic for today's show. But what I had covered was, first of all, the topic was how your views around money as a light worker affects how you show up in your power if you're just joining us. And then I covered the most common money myths that light workers are believing. Then I covered why these beliefs are so deep. And then I went into what the truth is about what money actually means for light workers. And I even talked about how you get to transform and clear those beliefs around money. And one of the fastest ways to clear your beliefs about money is to invest in yourself at a level that is scary. It's aligned, but it's scary. Because there's a difference between something that's scary because it's not for you and it's not in alignment versus something that is in alignment for you and it's about to take you to the next level, and that's why you're scared. That's why you're being triggered, right? So one common thing that some invisible light workers do is that they feel the fear, when they are, wanting to invest in something that is scary, at a higher level than they've ever done before. And they take it as, oh, that's not for me. That's bad. That's my guides telling me that this is not for me, or that this is not what I need to do next. Or they'll say, oh, this is the universe's sign telling me that this is not for me, right? And that's usually not the case, because if something is truly aligned for you, if your heart is a yes, then the reality is that is aligned. And from that point, then you get to make a choice. Are you going to follow your heart? Because your heart always knows what's up. It's unfiltered. She tells you what really is the truth, right? And it's up to you to listen to your heart or not. If you don't want to listen to your heart, then you want to listen to your fear. That's what some disempowered invisible light workers do, is that they feel the fear, and instead of sitting with the discomfort and trying to figure it out and seeing, okay, what do I get to do next? What is my next choice? Maybe I get to make a different decision rather than fear, is that that's when they think, oh, okay, well then that's a sign from the universe that I'm not supposed to do this. That's a sign from the universe that this is bad for me, right? When actually it is an opportunity for you to transcend this money block. And since you are resourceful, you get to figure that out, because that's what someone does when, they really want something and it's aligned, but maybe they feel like, oh my God, it's like at a level of investment that is really, really scary for me. And I don't know how I can do that. Because here's what that then tells you. It's not about money. And usually when you've got fears around money, it's never really about the money. And that's why you need to clear up your money stories and the money beliefs that you've created. Because what it is actually the fear that money is symbolizing for you. So if money symbolizes to you evil, if it symbolizes to you low vibration and not being spiritual, which is all part of the old paradigm, then of course you're going to be very nervous and very triggered by it, right? And you're not going to want to step in, because that's your belief. And really what's going under that is usually this aspect of, I don't know if I could handle that. I might get overwhelmed. Maybe I can't do it. I'm not capable of it. Or maybe I'm not worthy to have that kind of experience in my life and spend that kind of money, right? In air quotes. That's really what that symbolizes. Is that fear of either I'm not used to spending so much on myself, I'm not used to investing in myself, I'm not used to taking a stand for myself, I'm not used to making different decisions that could really bring me higher. And so that's really one of the number one ways you can clear out your money blocks, is to invest in yourself at a level that scares you, that is also aligned. And really getting clear with your heart and understanding that, and then getting resourceful. So I see some questions coming in here. Let's see. Okay. What do you recommend to do if one wants to start making money of my abilities? Very open question, but I'm in a shift and in need for some examples. Well, that's pretty vague. If you want to start making money off your abilities, there's so many ways to do that, right? So if you have a more specific question around that, let me know. Okay. I mean, if I want to make money to help heal in the ways I helped heal myself. Well, you show up. You show up, right? And you provide offerings that are aligned with the levels of transformation that you provide. And then you price it accordingly. Not time per dollar, not which is the old school way, the old paradigm way of like time per dollar and people expect this of you. No, it's really by the level of transformation you provide. So if you provide a huge level of transformation, you get to charge for that, right? And it's really interesting how you phrase it, start making money off your abilities. It's really not that. It's about just showing up in service, and you just happen to have abilities that you get to hone and tap into, right? And so that's really, really important. And so I hope that helped. Anyone else have any questions about money and being a light worker and showing up? Was this helpful for you? Was this of help and service to you? Let me know. Thanks for the hearts. I appreciate that. And yeah, because a lot of this old programming, it's strong. It's strong in light workers. But when you start to notice that your belief system is a specific way and it's not healthy, it's not aligned, it's not true, then that's where you get to do the work. That's where you get to understand where the shift gets to occur within you. Okay. Another question I'm seeing here, I have a lot of areas of expertise. Should I address all of them or just one in a business? Well, that's also a great question. Excuse me. And I'm seeing example, energetic healing, self-care. So basically you just said it yourself, right? Is that there's this theme of energy healing and self-care, right? So you can have a bunch of different healing modalities. Like, I mean, you might already know my background. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, a Reiki master teacher, an initiated medicine woman, otherwise known as a shamanic practitioner. And I'm also an activator of the new code of power, which is my greater work, and I'm a mentor and coach around that. And so that's, it sounds like a bunch of different things, but all of it, that there's a theme around all of this. It's about power. It's about being empowered. It's about being activated in your power. So that's really what you get to approach this with, is because you can have a bunch of different modalities, right? That's not a problem. You might even have like a bunch of different things other than just healing work that you want to bring into your healing work. That's not a problem either, because the more unique you are, the more appealing it is, honestly, and the more focused you can be with your niche and your ideal client, right? And that's important, is to know who is your ideal client, your niche, as some people call it. So that's really, really important, because and I'm seeing a mention here of city, and she does a lot of artwork. And the reality is that, as we started working together more deeply, she started to realize that as she was upgrading in her vibration, because that's a big thing that you get to do right now. And it's not just high vibes always and that kind of, passive stuff. This is about actively raising your frequency on a regular basis, because that's important right now, because that's what's under attack as well, is your vibration, your consciousness, right? So, then my private client, she then realized that her art was actually activating to people. It was activating others, because she was receiving activations from me like every month, like twice a month even. And so, then you just start vibing and vibing highly and vibing highly. And then people can start feeling you when you start vibing at that vibration, right? And that's something that people will start to notice. That's something that I've heard too, is just, I felt you, I feel your vibration, I can feel your power. Like these are some of the things some people have said to me. And that's what happens when you just really embody your power, and then literally you become your essence. You vibrate at your essence. And so you can just literally be walking to the farmer's market and you're just exuding your essence, and you're not trying to, you just are. And that's because you are honing your vibration to a specific level. Okay, good questions. How do we get around the idea of the max amount of money we can make? I believe I can make up to a certain amount, but after that, it's difficult to believe. Okay, so there's this little glass ceiling you've got there around your money, around this belief like it's okay for me to make X amount, but if I make above that, that's wrong. That's bad. That's wrong on some level for you, right? That's what's showing up for you, is that you are seeing yourself as limited, and you are how would I say this? It's more like you're gauging how you charge for your services based on other people's opinions and perceptions, right? And that's the same thing about being visible, right? And because a lot of light workers are like, well, I want to be visible, but my ex-boyfriend might see this, or my mother-in-law might see this, or that kind of thing. And the truth is like, are you living your life for your mother-in-law? Are you living your life for your ex-boyfriend? Are you living your life for all the people who are scared of your power? Because if that's truly the case, then you get to rethink your purpose, because you may not be connected with your purpose, right? But then when you are, you might still have some concern that, oh God, like I'm talking about a polarizing subject today, and I might get some backlash or whatever, but they still show up anyway, and they show up in full, right? So taking it to this point here is, you're basically asking me, what's the maximum I can make, right? And that's up to you. If you really are in the unlimitedness of your being, you can make, like, it's sky's the limit. There's no limit. There's no maximum. It's just up, 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 right? But in order for you to take ownership of that, you must also believe in yourself that much. And not that you have to be full of yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But you do get to be enrolled in the fact that your services will transform other people's lives. And if you believe that from a very real place, then you get to be enrolled in your services, and you get to be enrolled at the level of transformation that you're charging for your services. So don't get too worried about, like, other people are going to think I'm too expensive or whatever. If they're thinking you're too expensive, you either have not shown them the value of the transformation you're providing, or they're kind of in some money story themselves, right? And that's why it's so important for you to also clear your money blocks, so you don't take on other people's money stories and that kind of thing. So I hope that's helpful. Do you have any suggestions on how to get money when you're depressed and struggle to do things? First of all, getting money, right? There is an energy of taking, right? There's a lot of scarcity that I'm hearing in a lot of these questions around, like, is it okay for me to ask for this much? Is it okay for me to show up? I need to take the money. I need to get money, right? Rather than, I get to make money. I get to create money, because that's really what you're doing, right? And so I invite you to listen to the way you're approaching your money, even in your language. So are you getting money? Are you trying to grab the money? Or are you just creating the money and receiving money, right? And you can tell that the energy with both of those descriptions are very different. And one is more expansive, and one is very constrictive and limiting and full of scarcity, right? So in regards to creating money when you're depressed and struggle to do things, well, that's something that you get to, like, do that healing work around, right? And your healing, and I can say this as a fact, being a healer in private practice for over 12 years, if it takes you a very long time to heal from something, it is because you're resisting your healing. And I'm going to say that one more time. If it's taking you a long time to heal, you are resisting something about your power and about your healing. And because I know this because some patients will, they'll come in and they'll expect to just like, come in and at the end of the session, like they're completely healed, everything is awesome in their lives, right? But it requires their participation. So if you expect someone to just kind of like wave a magic wand, right? That doesn't happen. The healing doesn't happen if you don't participate in it. So the quickness and the speed of your healing is up to you. And the less you resist your healing, then the faster you'll move through it. And the faster you move through it, then you can start really connecting with, your abundance. And so that's really where it gets to start, is really doing the healing internal work so that you are not in a triggered state and that you are really truly healing and doing that work so that you can show up in a bigger way. And then you can really get into the money stuff, because honestly, all the internal work that you're doing is going to positively affect your views about money. It's together, it's connected. So I hope that helps. Okay, makes so much sense. Well, that's a new perspective. You're welcome. Good question here. Do you need to be initiated into a practice before serving as a healer? No. No. There are a lot of people who, whether it's, some people, like, especially you'll see this with the medicine way, shamanic work. It's inherited, and so it's not like you went to school for it or something. It's just like that's who you are. And even if it wasn't in your lineage, if it's something that just comes naturally to you, you get to develop that. Number one, obviously, you're going to want to develop that and get some tutelage and training around that so that you can really amplify and cultivate your power with your abilities. You want to make sure you do that. But no, you don't need to be initiated or official in order to practice, because that's one fallacy that a lot of light workers do, is that they believe they need to be this like guru who's like completely healed, totally knows what they're doing, has, a bunch of certifications, many degrees, right? You don't need all of that. You just need to show up. You need to connect with your power, connect with your abilities, connect with your heart, connect with your purpose, and then start showing up and making offers. And then that's also how you get better with your healing work, is that you keep doing it. You keep practicing it. And then you start seeing what your style is and that kind of thing. So I hope that helped. I'm seeing a question here. Does forgiveness play that role? Well, I'm not sure which point you're making towards that question, but I will say that forgiveness plays a huge role in healing, in how you are in your money and abundance, and how you are in your power. Because a lot of times there are people who have struggles with, healing, with their money. They are still carrying bitterness in their heart. They're still carrying betrayal in their heart. And the truth is, if your heart is crowded with negative feelings about other people and, just negative memories in your heart, there's no space for love and joy and transformation to take place. So the way you shift that is through forgiveness work. And not only of those who have hurt you, but also and foremost yourself. So if you haven't done that work, make sure you do it. And there's always new levels of that, right? Like you don't just do it once and then you're done for the rest of your life. Like there's usually levels and levels and levels. And that's why they call it a journey. So I hope that helped. Okay. So someone's mentioning being low income and having no qualifications. I feel undesirable for work and it depresses me. There are things I want to do, like attuning to Reiki, but I haven't got the funds to invest in myself. So the thing is when you are feeling like that, right? Like, first of all, you get to set an intention around what it is you want to create intentionally. Like, let's just say, I'll just hypothetically say that a Reiki attunement is something you really, really want to create in your very near future. then not only do you start putting it as an intention out there, but you do it from a place where your heart is clear and you are aligned and not in like whatever you're depressed about, right? It's really from that heart space of I'm ready to create, and really opening your heart to God, and really opening your heart to your team of light, and really opening your heart to your mission, right? Because if you're like, I have a feeling like there might be some work you get to do in your heart because it feels a little closed, right? So you get to really work on that first, because if your heart's closed, no Reiki attunement is going to help. Okay, so that's the number one thing to do, is connect with your heart, transform the betrayal, the pain, anything that you're carrying in your heart into pure love, and seeing yourself as pure love. And from there, you can really call in, okay, I'm ready for my Reiki attunement. And then you start, putting the feelers out there, and you start being intentional about, okay, it is X amount of funds, and just starting to put an action towards that. Excuse me. So I hope that helped. Okay. And yeah, forgiving and letting go of the pain. Yeah, that's a heart thing. That is very much a heart thing. Louisa asks, how can I attract more customers who pay my prices easily with gratitude? That's a great question. And I love the energy of it too, because it just feels very much lighter versus I need to get clients, right? I need to get my money. So the answer to that question is, let's see, attracting more customers who pay my prices easily with gratitude. It's really, it begins with you. Of course, it always begins like it might sound, I might sound like a broken record at this point, but it always begins with you. And first of all, are you in a place of receiving, a place of I'm ready to receive. I'm excited. I'm excited to do this service and this work with my ideal clients. I can't wait to serve them. This is how they show up. They're excited to pay me, right? And you can even include, you mentioned you paying my prices easily with gratitude, is you can even phrase that into, I am connecting with ideal clients who are excited to pay me, and enrollments are easy, right? That's one way, is just really being in that frequency of the possibility, right? So, just to kind of give like a contrast, if you were not in that mode, like if you were closed off, like let's say if you were closed off in your heart, or you had some perceptions about your clients being a certain way and you didn't like that, or them even, right? Like that's going to create a certain energy around the type of people you're going to attract. It will probably attract people who are not good fits, quite honestly, because you're focusing on what's not aligned, right? And then on contrast, if you are focusing on, wow, I get to work with clients who are excited to work with me, they're excited to pay me, they're ready to do the work. And you can even say, they're at a certain level of understanding in their lives, or a certain level of evolving in their lives, that kind of thing. So you can call all of that in, and then of course make the aligned action. So that's how you start to attract more customers who are excited to pay you, is you do the inner work first. Are you excited to do this work? Are you excited to receive that payment, right? And so start there. All right. Okay, so I think that's all the questions I'm answering for right now, and you got some really great questions for me. I appreciate that. And so if you're just joining us now, the topic was how your views around money as a light worker affects how you show up in your power. And I talked about the most common money myths that light workers are believing. I talked about why light workers are believing that, and also what the truth is about money that we get to experience as light workers now. So okay, awesome. You're welcome. And so just know that this recording is going to be available on Instagram. It'll be on, I was about to say IGTV, but I think it's just going to be on like a general video thing now. But it'll be there, is my point. So the recording will be available. And then on Facebook, it will be in the video section. So give me a moment to make sure that's all set up for you. But I hope that was of service to you, and I hope that you are ready to shift into this new energy of money, and to really take to heart some of the things that I shared today. And if there was even just one thing that gave you an aha today, that would be an awesome thing. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. So excited that you were here. Someone's asking, what is your name on Facebook? It is, I think it's just, yeah, it's actually just Alcantara Acupuncture and Healing Arts. So that's what it is on Facebook. That's my page. And so I will see you next week, next Monday, which is Monday the 8th, at 2 p.m. Eastern. And so have a wonderful rest of November, because today is the 1st of November. So kicking off the week, kicking off the month. So make sure you step into much love, light, and power.